Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some more X-Plane 11 in virtual reality. Howdy folks, and we are back here in X-Plane 11, and tonight we're looking at a brand new helicopter as well as a brand new scenery in an area that we've been in before. But time is critical and I've got a lot of places to show you, so I'm going to go ahead and get everything set up. Alright, we've got our transponder squawking, so everything should be good there. There's not much that needs to be done in this helicopter to prep it. I've already taken the liberty of starting it. I might do a start tutorial if you really need one at a later time. But let's go airborne and we're going to check out the Krabi Outback, starting with this airport right here. This is Elephant Port, which is considered the main airport for the scenery package. Now this scenery package is by the awesome Monoblau, otherwise known as Stefan Schroen. You have seen his sceneries before on my channel. In fact, I'll even have links to both Bamboo Island and Kopoda Island videos that I've done previously. And of course, you can always find his stuff on the org site, the xplane.org site. But yeah, as we can expect, Stefan has thrown a whole bunch of goodies in here for us to see. And it's just going to take me such a while to actually show you everything that I want to show you. Bear in mind, small disclaimer, I'm not going to show you everything that there is because he has a ton of helipads in this scenery. Pretty much anywhere you could slap a helipad, he did. But we will take a quick look around Elephant Port before we head out and check out some of the other areas in this awesome scenery package. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are looking at here is a statue of Bill Womack. Now, if Bill's name sounds familiar to you, think I Blue Yonder. That's pretty much Bill's baby. And also think Orbix, because he also works with Orbix. And Stefan decided to immortalize him with his own statue in the center of town here, which I think is totally cool. But that's the key thing to take away with anything that Stefan creates. He always tries to incorporate other members of the community. I guess like the movers and shakers, you know, the people that are actually doing stuff in the community and so on and so forth. And I think that is really neat to see. Needless to say, he's also chosen to pay me a little bit of tribute. So if you look off in the distance over there, let me see if I can get a little closer. There we go. Who is that guy? Thank you, Stefan. Thank you. I really appreciate the shout out. I swear, every scenery that he's made recently has me in there somewhere. So I'm pretty sure that we'll probably run into another version of me later. That's awesome. But that's what he does, though, and that's one of the beautiful things about his scenery is the fact that it also calls attention to other people in the community. So you'll see all kinds of various shout-outs to developers and so on and so forth, and of course YouTubers like myself, or even Sergio from Helisimmer. He often gets a shout-out in here as well. Alright, but we are going to leave White Elephant Port, as it appears to be properly called. We're going to go down the river and go to another really interesting area that actually intrigues me. I've got questions about this area that I don't think have ever truly been answered. But as we're traveling on the way, I do want to point out something very important that you will notice, but you will not hear in this particular video, and that is the sounds. Every single area of this scenery has its own unique sound, so keep that in mind. And that is actually, I believe, a first for X-Plane scenery. We've seen it before with aircraft like D-Den's aircraft, but we've never actually seen it with scenery. And folks, it is awesome to hear, especially at night. Alright, so we are a little bit further up the White Elephant River here, and this is the area that I wanted to show you. There are so many questions, folks. I have so many questions about this area. From my understanding, and I'm sure Stefan will correct me if I'm wrong, this area is called the Vulcan testing area, and it's Vulcan spelled like what we're all waiting for to arrive to explain. So if you get a little bit closer, of course, you can see everything's gotten blown to Kingdom Come, or at least all the trees anyway. It looks like all the antennas and so on seem to be fine. I'm not quite sure what they were testing here, but if you go around this building, you will actually see what appears to be a logo for Laminar Research. So I don't know what Laminar Research is up to out here in Thailand, but they're obviously doing some kind of crazy work. And this is the kind of stuff that I absolutely love seeing. I don't even need a story for it. I can just like imagine or make up a story. That's just incredible. Alright, but he graciously did provide us with a little helipad over there, so I'm going to try my skill with this VSkyLabs Revolution Mini 500. And of course I will talk a little bit more about the helicopter that we're actually flying as we go a little bit further into the scenery here. But first, let me see if I still remember how to land this thing, because one very important thing that VSkyLabs tells you when you first get this helicopter is to turn on the experimental flight model in your settings in X-Plane. That will make this thing fly like it does in real life. And right here should be good. Alright! Woo! Okay. Another happy landing. Call me crazy, but I have a funny feeling that there's probably radioactivity in this area, so I'm guessing we should more than likely get out of here. Okay, so this portion of the White Elephant River actually ends, but there is another portion to the river that actually has civilization around it, and that's where I'm trying to get to now, since I like to use Dead Reckoning instead of the nifty little X-Pad hanging on the side there. I want to say it is in this direction, which is, of course, just about due south. As you can see, I've got a compass that is directly in my field of view. This helicopter that we're using, the Mini 500, is supposed to be kind of like a kit-built or a home-built helicopter. So as you can imagine, it's a one-seater. It's very small. There's not a whole heck of a lot of space to put stuff, so we pretty much have to make do with what we have. But man, does it ever feel cozy in VR. Okay, so just over the hill, we're back on the White Elephant River, and look at that, will you? That appears to be a gator. Or is it a crocodile? Always difficult to tell. You know what they say, you can tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile because, well, one will see you later, the other will see you after a while. Yeah, that's right, I've got dad jokes. Alright, but this is the main portion of the Elephant River, the White Elephant River. And you can see the longboats there. From my understanding, according to Stefan, most tourists actually don't get to see this side of Thailand, and you really have to have a connection with some of the locals to be able to travel along the rivers and see some of the sites that most people don't get a chance to see. Which, as you can see, it does go a little bit further in. I have explored it. There's not much to see there, but there's the occasional village every now and then. And of course, as I'm sure you know, all these villages have their own special charm to them. But we're going to check out this area here, because this is actually one of my favorite areas, and it will become apparent when we get a little bit closer. This area is called Elephant's End. I notice a theme going on here. About that. But as you can see, we've got what appears to be more crocodiles and more weather stations. I'm assuming that's a weather station. Yeah, that looks like an anemometer. It's a difficult word to say, mind you. And we've got helipads floating on the water, which is just crazy. You know me. I never back down from a challenge. I am going to have to attempt to land on one of these little water helipads here. So I'm going to choose this one because it looks to be the smallest. And I'm going to handicap myself, as I am oft to do, by going to the outside view and then seeing if I can land this sucker right there on that pad. Wish me luck. Yes, I know what you're saying. What the hell was that, Bell? Okay, I admit, it was definitely not my prettiest landing ever. But you know what? I'm kind of lucky that I even got it onto this lily pad. I can't even call it a helipad. This is more like a lily pad. Craziness. Alright, so let's see what else they've got over here at Elephant's End. Looks like some more houses on the water. I haven't quite figured out if these are lobster traps or crab traps or some other kind of trap, but I know it's for something to do with fishing. There is another one of those nifty temples that we often see around the area, Buddhist temples. And look at that, he's got moving boat traffic. Don't that beat all? Moving boat traffic. That is so cool. Now, don't get any funny ideas, folks. I am not going to attempt to land on this thing. Even though this helicopter is rather small, yeah, that's going to end badly. I'm going to tell you that right now. But this is the area that I'm coming to, because as you can see, they've got a bar and more floating helipads. And what do we have going on over here? Oh boy, it looks like Karen and Brenda have made a new friend. This is not going to end very well for either of them. But I like Brenda's big hair, though. Look at that. I don't know what kind of sick fantasy Stefan has. He's always putting some people in peril in his scenery. It's just craziness. I love it, though. I love his sense of humor. It's as sarcastic as mine is. And here is our helipad next to the bar and a restaurant. And will you look at that? Alright, so Tristan, Sergio, if you're watching, apparently we owe somebody some advertising money here. That's awesome. And Danny McKee, shout out to Danny McKee, he's another YouTuber. And hey, look at that, Nova Wing gets a second shout out. Good old Nova Wing, aka Tristan. And if we look up here, what do we have? Quadam River. So shout out to the folks at Prop Strike Studios, Carl and Luciano. Man, I still can't get over Karen and Brenda though. Yeah, they're about to have a really bad day. Alright, so let's take off and we're going to head over to this area here where it looks like a lot of the trees have died. And again, I have more questions. What is the story behind this? And why is that boat moving kind of funny? Yep, many questions, folks. Like, why did that ship just ground itself? What are these weird-looking construction vehicles doing? Why is this forest mostly dead? And there's supposed to be like a lost village around here somewhere, but I guess I'm not seeing it. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. It's lost. In fact, it is even my understanding that if you travel around this area at night, you can run across the extremely rare glowing radioactive two-headed deer. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Hey, look, we found a lost village, though. Wow, what the heck happened here? Hey, that looks like a regular deer. Okay, so clearly there is some kind of shenanigans afoot in this place at night. But at least the water looks great. That is so wild. I'm telling you, the imagination that this man has to come up with all of this stuff for his scenery, and he just keeps outdoing himself every single time. It's just incredible the amount of work that he's put into this, and I am really happy to see the end results of it. I will tell you this, though, it does kind of hit my frames per second a little bit heavier than some of the others, but then considering just how much he's got jam-packed in this, I'm kind of not surprised. Alright, we are going to head out to sea to a place called Bellis Rock, and I'm going to use the autopilot to help us out because, of course, it is a little bit of a jaunt for us. You can see the autopilot hanging off to the left-hand side there. In fact, you probably heard it beep when I turned it on. Okay, so the area that we're going to should be directly ahead, and I think a little bit off to the right. There's that cruise ship that I was telling you about earlier. That one, of course, does not move, and even though it does have a helipad on the bow, we will not be landing at that. We're just going to pass by the southern tip of this island here and turn ourselves on course to Bellis Rock, and then we'll go and check out some of the little helipads that they've got there. And there's another grounded ship over there. I'm telling you, folks, there are so many unanswered questions with this scenery. If you caught the video that I did on Kopoda Island, it's the same story there. Granted, there's no, like, grounded ships or anything like that, but there are areas that just kind of make you wonder what in the heck is really going on here, especially if you get to the island of a certain YouTuber that happens to have a radio station. Go around the island to the other side and see if you can figure out what exactly those people are doing with that lady and those geese. I'll have the link in the video description. You can check it out later. Okay. But I will tell you this, I'm thoroughly enjoying this VSkyLabs helicopter here. The Mini 500 is one of those helicopters that I've always wanted to be able to build in real life. And I'm glad that I'm able to fly it at least in VR here in X-Plane 11. Up ahead is Bellis Rock, as you can see, so we will be there momentarily. For now, let's switch to the outside view. Aw, how cute. We got a laminar research sailboat. I think that's actually default scenery objects, though. Alright, so we're closing in on Bellis Rock, so I'm going to go ahead and turn off our autopilot here and have manual control of the helo. It's just a basic autopilot. It's featured in some of the older aircraft, and it's actually featured notably in some of the other VSkyLabs aircraft. But it's pretty simple to use. You basically just set this thing on its course and turn on the autopilot, really. That's all there is to it. You got your altimeter or your altitude hold and so on, your heading hold and whatnot. So yeah, just the basics. Alright, but here we are around Bellis Rock, which from my understanding is the home of a monastery, a Buddhist monastery. That appears to be another radio station or something out there. You can see a little port and presumably how you would get up if you don't have a helicopter. But this little island intrigues me the most. That is what I call a house. Oh yeah, and it's got a helipad? Yeah, you know it's got to happen now. We have got to land at this house. Looks like we've got our own lobster traps in the back too. That's awesome. So yeah, I love this. Hey, look at that. There's a little tree floating around there. And this helicopter is, for the most part, easy to control. Remember though, you do have to set this thing to experimental flight model. And to really get the most out of it, I would suggest that you put your control settings to 0, so that way you really get the raw feel of this helicopter. It is not easy to fly at first, but once you master it, yeah, you can pull off landings like I just did. That was a perfect landing, right? Right? We all saw that. That was a perfect landing. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But now comes the real challenge. I noticed as we were flying past, there is a helipad at the top of this rock, and I can't even see the rock from in here. So, can we make it to the top of Bellis Rock and land at the helipad that they've got up here? That is the real question, folks. So I'm going to increase our collective here. Thankfully, with me being the only payload on board, that's just shy of about 200 pounds, so we should definitely be able to get some get up and go with this thing. But yes, you can see the monastery there, and you can also see one of Stefan's famous rocks. I still say that is my absolute favorite thing out of any of his scenery, is when he does the rocks. He just does such an incredible job on them. And he also has folks helping him out as far as the mesh for this entire area, so make sure you install the mesh that comes with this. You need it in order for all the mountains to look as beautiful as they do. Alright, there is our helipad. Actually, that looks a little sketchy for a helipad. It looks like a bunch of logs kind of lashed together with rope. I'm not so sure how well this is going to work here. There's the monastery, and don't ask me what they do once they get up there, because I don't really see a way for them to get on board. Yeah, this might not exactly be the best place in the world. What in the hell is... Is that what I think that is? Folks, there is a freaking cow on top of Bellis Rock. Stefan, why is there a cow on top of Bellis Rock? Look at Bessie. She's just chilling up there like, hey, what's up? You're going to land or what? I'll clear you. Alright, let's see if we can pull this off. At least it's a little bit bigger than the last helipad that we tried landing on. So I'm going to go smack dab in the middle here and set her down. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is going on here? Yeah, this thing is sketchy as all get out. Freaking Bessie the cow. Alright, let's lift off from Bellis Rock. And incidentally, you may notice that I'm referring to this as Bellis Rock. The reason for that is pretty simple. This island is named for the incredibly talented scenery and library object creator, Cami De Bellis. I featured Cami's work before in the previous videos that I did for Stefan's work, and the two pretty much go hand in hand now, it would seem, as far as the sceneries go. Now, Cami has also made her own scenery in some of the other South Pacific islands, so in a future episode, I'm going to be showing that off. But part of the reason why I bring her up, aside from, giving her a shout-out, is to bring up another important point with this and most other freeware sceneries that you will find on the org site. A lot of them utilize libraries from other community members, such as Cami. What you will need to do when you click on the link for this particular scenery package that Stefan has created, make sure you read his description on the scenery page. It will list all of the scenery library objects that we will need in order to get this thing functioning without any errors. Hang on, let me turn on the autopilot here. Okay, there we go. I think we are right on course. So we're going to head to the inland areas of the Krabi outback and check out some of the airports and heliports that they've got there. Alrighty folks, we are closing in on the mainland again, and I'm going to zoom into the area that we are going to. The airport that we're going to be landing at is called Fonck STOL, which is, believe it or not, another shout out to a gentleman by the name of Christian Fonck, who was, I guess you would say, I don't know if protege is the right word, probably more of a mentor, I would imagine, for Stefan when he was first getting into like scenery creation and so on. He was an add-on developer who did some work on Microsoft Flight Simulator 2000, and he's part of the reason why Stefan even got into creating sceneries in the first place. So I thought it was pretty cool that he gave him a little bit of a shout-out by giving him his own airport. And as you're going to see when we get to the airport, it is a really cool-looking structure. I've said before that one of my majors in college was architecture, so whenever I see really well done architecture in flight sim scenery, that always gets my attention. We're going to get a little bit closer and check it out. As we pass back over the White Elephant River, it is clear to see that Stefan definitely puts a lot of love into his scenery. I fell in love with his scenery months and months ago when I first tried out Bamboo Island and all of those. But I've got to say, every single time he comes out with something new and interesting, it always grabs my attention for a longer period of time than most scenery. Now bear in mind, of course, I have spent a lot of time recently with Orbix and, doing those videos there, the 4-part tour. Well, actually it was more of a 5-part tour if you've been keeping track. But yes, I love coming back to sceneries like this because, number one, when Stefan creates something, he keeps in mind the bush pilots and the helicopters. And a lot of my viewing audience fall into either of those categories. We are the guys that like to go and explore everything. We want to find all the little Easter eggs that are in there. We want to try our hand at landing on those bush strips that the locals are like, nope, you're not going to make it. Most importantly, this is the kind of stuff that gives us the most fun. Looking around and checking out the little farms off in the distance. Look at that. They're like growing coconut trees. They're trying to reforest the area. There's just so much hidden charm to this area that you can't see it all in one flight. You have to keep coming back again and again. And as I said in the beginning of this video, I'm not going to be able to show you everything in this video. This video is probably going to end up being about an hour long, And as I am sure you will see in this finished product, you still have not seen everything that Krabi Outback has to offer. But with that having been said, here is Fonck STOL Airport, and that's STOL as in short takeoff or landing. I will leave it to you to guess why it is called that. And here we're going to make a quick right-hand turn. I'm going to lose a little bit of airspeed here, and I'm probably going to be a little bit distracted as I try to focus on coming down, because the area that we are given to land on does not appear to be terribly big, and it is flanked by trees on the back end. So yeah, this is going to get interesting, and I'm trying to slow us down as much as I possibly can. Now it would appear at this airport that we've also got people waiting, so this might be a good airport for me to take that AW139 that X-Rotor's made and come back here and see if I can try my hand at transporting people from one side of the area to the other. That would be pretty cool. But I love the little terminal buildings that are around here, and of course the village that's attached to it. And here is our helipad. Alright folks, I'm not going to talk as much here. I'm going to try and focus on bringing her down. And is it just me, or is this helipad crooked? Holy crap, it is crooked. And wait, is that... Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. BelGeode and his wife, Aliana's Shrike. He kills me every time he does this. Between Stefan and Gergely, who is another scenery creator. I've shown Gergely's work before with the Hungary VFR. Yeah, the two of them insist on putting me and Ali in like every scenery. I can't get over this. This guy, I swear. And then we got this thing over here, which kind of reminds me of The Empire Strikes Back, the power station from Hoth. Oh man, that was wild. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I truly, truly enjoy. You can keep your tube liners, you can keep your 12-hour long-haul flights that usually end in X-plane crashing as you're on final approach. Give me this kind of stuff all the time. Give me the backwoods, let me explore, let me find all the various hidden things all over the place, and I will have hours upon hours of fun in VR. And I also know that he did put some helipads on top of some of these mountains here. I'm trying to figure out which one. I know there's one that's got like a double helipad or something like that. I'm not quite sure in which direction it actually is, but that's okay. If we don't find it, then that's fine, because I would like you to explore all of this yourself. This is awesome. I love those little farmlands. And look, there's a helipad up there. We'll have to check that out in a moment. The area that we're in right now is called OMG Edson's Farm. And it's kind of curious because I noticed when I did my test flight over here that they had some rather interesting flora, shall we say. Now, there's no place that I have been able to see that we could actually land, but what caught my interest the first time I flew around here was this little farm right here. These don't look like palm trees. They're definitely not coconut trees or cocoa. So what the heck could this actually be? I wonder. whatever it is, it's important enough for them to have guard houses around here. We're gonna have to take a closer look. Right here should be good for a hover. Oh boy! Folks, they are growing marijuana in Thailand. Of course, that should come as no real big surprise to anyone who's ever really been to Thailand. That's all I'll say about that. And I hope you like the little music that I had going on in the background. Big thanks to the what are they called? The dub wagons? Or the dubwigans? They make freeware reggae music that's available for download, and you can use it in your videos royalty free. So shout out to the dubwigans. Alright, let's try and see if we can make it up to this helipad here. I'm going to need all the collective I can handle without this thing going crazy on me. And you can really get a bird's eye view of the entire area though. Look at that. That's just awesome. And it almost looks like they've got a house attached to the bottom of that helipad. That's an intriguing design. I'm not sure that I would actually want to live there because I kind of need, you know, a little bit of a backyard and so on. I kind of like mowing the lawn every now and then. There's no lawn to mow, and obviously I don't think I want to take a lawnmower anywhere near the edge of this place. Alright, but we're going to try our luck. I'm going to see if I can set her down somewhere relatively close to the center. I think right about here should do the trick. There we go. Alright, that was much better than the landing at Bellis Rock. Excellent. Alright, well, as usual, we're going to go outside and take a look. I think it's about time we leave our precarious perch over here and start making our way back to Elephant Port. There are still like a ton of areas that I haven't even shown you. Off in that direction somewhere is Quang Airfield, which according to Stefan is his quote-unquote personal airfield, so I imagine there's lots of cool stuff to see there. And I know there are other helipads on top of the mountains, as I had expressed before. However, I can't seem to see any right now. So I don't think we're going to be making any side trips. We are going to fly over the ganja farm, though, and check out the mountains on the other side. And then we'll begin like a gentle turn to the left and start heading back to Elephant Port. So that'll actually give me the opportunity to talk to you a little bit more about this helicopter. So this is part of what VSkyLabs is calling the experimental series. There are certain aircraft that they're working on that they consider experimental, partly because in real life they are considered experimental aircraft. Hold on, sorry about that. I'm checking to see if there's a helipad up there, and there is not. Crap. Okay. Oh well. Anyway, as I was saying, so yeah, the experimental aircraft series that VSkyLabs is working on currently, this is a part of that series. That is why they insist that when you fly this thing, you make sure that you have that experimental mode toggled. Of course, the downside of that is since Laminar Research loves to update their flight simulator, you can expect that there are going to be times when you get an update for this thing and it might break. If that should happen, worry not. Just make sure that you report it to VSkyLabs on their website. They've got a pretty detailed, I want to say it's like a forum or blog post or something like that, that you can add any information you have to. And of course, they will see it and go through it and make sure that everything is working fine in short order. They also have an auto updater process for their aircraft now. I'm not sure if all the aircraft are included in the auto updating process. This one most definitely is. So this one will keep itself updated as long as you have that incorporated into your X-Plane. But yeah, other than that, I really enjoy flying this thing. I know it can be a pain in the butt if you are not on top of your game, but then if you are like me and you're used to flying helicopters and flight simulators, you kind of know to never take your hands off the Cyclic and the Collective. I do see some kind of, I don't know what that is, a TV station or something. I want to say that's the direction we're going to need to head anyway, because I don't think there's anything else on this side of the scenery other than just tons and tons of trees. So we're going to head back this way. We might fly past that TV station just to check it out. There's a little lake over there too that we could explore. Looks like it's got some dead trees around it. We're not going to do that though for this particular video because, like I said, this one is definitely long enough. And honestly, I think you will have a lot better time if you hop in the aircraft of your choice and check it out yourself. You have, of course, plenty of bush aircraft options as well as plenty of helicopter options available to you. I would not recommend that you bring the Zibo 737, however. Something tells me it's not going to go the way that you would like it to go. So, there you go. Take it from me. But other than that, if you, like me, enjoy these little experimental aircraft, I would highly, highly recommend that you pick up this VSkyLabs Revolution Mini 500 because it is truly a joy to fly. You don't have to worry about passengers. It's literally just you and the helicopter. And as you can see, I am enjoying the absolute heck out of flying this thing. This is definitely one of the coolest helicopters that I've seen for quite some time. Of course, there is the AW-139, but that's a different class of helicopter. Alright folks, now comes the fun part. We need to land this bird. And we're going to land exactly where we took off from. So that will be Elephant Port Airport. And we're going to try and see if we can bring it down on the same exact helipad that we took off from. So we'll save the television station and all the other various helipads and airports for, I guess, another time. Or, like I said, you can explore it yourself. And honestly, I would hope that you get this package as well as Kopoda Island and Bamboo Island, because for the amount of effort that Stefan has put into these 3 packages, it is definitely worth getting all 3 of them. And let me just remind you, in case you hadn't gotten it the first time, this is all free. Everything that you are seeing here, with the obvious exception of the helicopter that I'm flying, is completely free. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to pick it up. Alright, now, getting this thing down, that's going to be the interesting part, because I definitely don't want to overspeed and run into either RPM issues or worse, retreating blade stall. All of which is modeled in this. Pretty much anything that you can model in a helicopter, VSkyLabs has it modeled in this thing. And as you can see, our vertical speed is kind of healthy. So we're going to need to watch that. We still have a little ways to go though. So I'm going to do these little twisty, windy S-turns here. So I bring myself down. And if we hear any beeping, that will be our RPM dropping a little too much. But that's one of the beautiful things about being in VR, however, is being able to judge your distances more accurately. And yep, it does sound like we are definitely losing a little bit of RPM there. Alright, I think we should be good now. Okay, we've got about 1,000 feet to go, so what I'll do is I'll go down towards the opposite end of the runway over by the mountain there, and then we will turn around and see if we can bring her in, and that should be good for this video. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do when you do end up getting this scenery package, turn your vehicle off, and especially if you're in VR, you know you can teleport around to different portions of the scenery package and just listen to the sounds. Listen both during the day and at night. I promise you, you will not be disappointed at just how incredibly amazing these sounds are. Alright, before I hit this mountain though, I think what I'm going to do is a little bit of a teardrop turn here. Here we go. Hold her together, baby. Hold her together. Okay, I'm going to need to drop the collective here because we're actually gaining altitude. I do not want that. Come on, let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. Alright, we're getting into the low speed realm, so we're going to want to watch out for vortex ring state. Almost there, and as I'm sure you can see from the windsock up ahead, we are going to need to turn around and land in the opposite direction. Yeah, good thing we're in a helicopter. Don't try this in the general aviation. Talk about your crosswind landings. Sheesh. But I should be able to handle it. We'll just skirt along the edge of this shipping container here. We'll get over the H, we'll turn around and land. And while I'm working on that, I want to thank you, as always, for watching. This has been BelGeode. I have been flying in X-Plane 11.31, and of course, I am in virtual reality through use of the Oculus Rift headset. As always, if you enjoy what you've seen, please feel free to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe. And that is a picture-perfect landing right there. Don't forget to share if you are so inclined. The scenery I've been using tonight is the Krabi Outback Adventures Thailand by Monoblau, aka Stefan, Schroen, or Union Vogelhirsch. Look for him online. The links, of course, are always in the video description below. And finally, the helicopter that I've been using has been the VSkyLabs Revolution Mini 500. I definitely recommend you pick this one up because it is a lot of fun. Alrighty folks, that'll do it for me. Thanks for watching. Ciao!